Our guest today is Sanjiv Mehta, CEO and Managing Director of India's largest FMCG major, Hindustan Unilever, and he believes that a successful leader puts compassion at the center of leadership. Sanjiv Mehta started his career with Union Carbide in 1983 and was a part of the crisis management team for the Bhopal Gas tragedy in 1984. His 3-decade stint at Unilever started soon after when he moved to Unilever Arabia as the commercial head for home and personal care products. He has held leadership positions at Unilever's outing in Bangladesh, Philippines, and its Middle East and North Africa business. With signature victories in each role and as someone who's always on the lookout for the next big idea, Mehta soon landed at the top job for HUL in India. Sanjiv, thank you so much for joining us today. It's so good to have you.
Pleasure is mine.
I would like to begin with asking you, you have been with Unilever from last 3 decades now. You've worked in different parts of the world. Which stint has been the most substantial part of your career and which one challenged you the most?
You know, I've spent 30 years with Unilever. In fact, I'll complete 30 years next month. Wow, so close to completing 3 decades in this great company. My first 21 years were outside the country. Yeah, I was in Middle East, I was in Bangladesh, I was in Philippines, then I again went back to Dubai. I was looking after North Africa, Middle East. And then for the last 9 years, I've been in India. If I were to say what's been the most satisfying part of my career, it's been India. First is HUL is a crown jewel of Unilever. Second is there's nothing better than running a company like HUL and in your own country. It has a very special meaning. Yeah, so this has been my most satisfying part of my career. But as far as challenges are concerned, there have been plethora of challenges. When I went to Bangladesh, the business was in deep trouble. And that was also a time when I went to London for my briefing before I came to Bangladesh. Yeah, one of the business group presidents told me that the business is in such dire straits that we were also contemplating leaving Bangladesh. So it was all about turning that around. Then when I went as chairman of North Africa, Middle East, we were hit by the Arab Spring. It started from Tunis. You remember there was a fruit vendor who immolated himself and it spread across literally like a wildfire. And the whole region was up in flames. And we had a big business in Egypt. And Egypt went through a very tough patch. So looking after our people, looking after the business, still ensuring that we keep growing our business. So that was a very challenging context. And in the last 9 years, we have seen demonetization, we have seen the introduction of GST, then we've had 2 years of pandemic, and within the pandemic there were brutal period. So there have been challenges all through my career. And if you go back a bit, in my previous company, I worked for 2 companies, both with a big U, Union Carbide and Unilever. And in Union Carbide, when I was a very young man, I was made a member of the Bhopal Gas tragedy crisis team. So that to me was baptism by fire. And if I were to look back, that was a crisis of huge magnitude. We lost a lot of people in Bhopal, but it trained me to manage crisis. And the way Unilever grooms you, I've been now CEO for 21 years. So it was first Bangladesh, then a much bigger business in Philippines, Then I was entrusted with the responsibility of running a region, more than 20 countries, from Oman in the east to Morocco in the west. And after that, I've been running South Asia and India and South Asia, which I said is jewel in the crown. So Unilever has given me bigger responsibilities, taken risk with me, developed me, and in many ways, they have made me ready to take on this big role of being in the global executive board. And I am the first CEO of HUL who has been co-opted, while he's in the CEO of the company, co-opted in the Unilever Global Executive Board. That's a reflection of also the importance of India in Unilever scheme of things, and also the high performance of Hindustan Unilever.
This journey sounds like a roller coaster ride. All right, in one of your speeches, you have said that the days of command and control are almost over and authority is replaced by leadership. Can you elaborate more on this?
If you go back to the history of leadership, it was first the religious leaders who controlled through their sermons, through their preachings. Then it was the military leadership. And if you look at the business leadership, it has imbibed a lot of things from the military leadership. So not surprisingly, initially it was command and control. But those days are gone. It's the young generation, the societal expectations, and you would not be able to get the best out of people if you do not delegate to the edge, if you do not have a style of leadership where you're able to, without commanding them, but making them accountable. There is a fine difference between responsibility and accountability. Responsibility is given, accountability is taken. And the job of leader today is to inspire others. The job of the leader today is not to give answers, but more importantly, ask the right questions. And even the environment today is you need to create a culture of collaboration. And that is where you are able to get the best out of people. So the expectations of the society, of the new generation, and the style of leadership also has to evolve. Leadership is contextual. If today there is a crisis, then there would still be a heavy dose of command and control. But if it is not a business under crisis, then you need different levers to inspire your people. And that's where the difference lies today.
Yes, absolutely. And constantly reinventing yourself is something you strongly believe in. Can you share instances where you've done this, and what is your advice to the young emerging leaders?
Just like a corporation has to reinvent itself, similarly, as an individual, if you don't want to get fossilized, you have to reinvent yourself. And reinvent yourself means you are contemporary in your thinking, you have developed new age skills and capabilities. And because if you don't reinvent yourself, how will you reinvent the corporation? Just think of it. Technology. When we started working more than 3 decades back, it was still the age of typewriters and photocopiers, right? And then came in the electric typewriter. Then came in the PC. And then it has evolved. Then when the handset came in, it used to be a status symbol, given to people of a certain level in the organization. Only they could have mobile telephones, and it was pretty expensive at that stage. Now, can you think of an era where technology, data, analytics, and the power of computing? Just think of it. It's been only 15 years since Apple launched an iPhone with the power of a mini computer, with the power of a camera, and with the speed that you have, and with the apps that you have, all rolled into one. So technology is changed tremendously, and the speed of change is becoming increasingly furious, if I may use that word. And if you get left behind, how would you be able to lead a corporation? Just look at it, the speed of computing, the cost, the manner in which it has reduced, the cloud, and look at the next generation, whether it is from a metaverse that you would be getting into with augmented reality, virtual reality, extended reality. It's going to be a very different world. And people like us are not digital natives, right? We are digital immigrants. We are not like our daughters who, when they started studying, they had a toy kind of laptop to start playing with, and I don't think they have seen a world without computers. But for us, it has meant evolving ourselves with the changing world. And so reinventing yourself entails first being very curious, inquisitive. That's extremely important. The second is keeping the thirst to learn. You have to be a student all your life. Third is humility, that you may be a CEO of a large corporation, but neither you know everything, nor you're expected to know everything. And you could be learning many things, say from a management trainee who has joined. In our company, we've had reverse mentoring, and for many years, I had youngsters teach me about technology. Even yesterday, I was chairing my digital council, and I was telling my team that, guys, I don't understand gaming. I've never played games, and I don't understand the business model of games. So I told my team, we need to get some experts in who would be able to teach us, people like me. Many people in the room, of course, were very adept at gaming, but I don't understand. So I said, if we have to use gaming as a means of communication, then I first need to understand what the heck gaming is all about. So you have to have that thirst for knowledge, and you have to continuously reinvent yourself.
Absolutely. So you were just talking about, you were a part of the crisis management team at Union Carbide. So I think it was probably one of the most challenging assignments of your career. So, what important lessons did you learn from that experience, and, how did it prepare you for your future leadership roles?
Oh, thank you for that question. I was a very young man when I was para-dropped.
It was your first job after you...
It was my first job, and I was 1 year into the company when the crisis happened. And a few weeks after that, I was asked to move to Bhopal. And, I believe a boy became a man while working in, during this period. And like I said, it was a crisis of huge magnitude. It still is being touted as perhaps one of the worst industrial disasters. So it was all about working with it was a very small team, the crisis management team, and I was the junior most member. And it was all about working with the investigating agencies, working with the lawyers. It was about separating the workers. It was about working with the communities to help them. It was about dealing with American lawyers, court cases. So it was a completely undefined role, but high pressure, high intensity. And the future was our company at stake. Thankfully, this was before the 24/7 television era. Otherwise, the whole world, the newspapers had descended there. But can you imagine in today's time? Yes. But even then, I remember the first time, for the first few weeks, when from the Bhopal guest house of Union Carbide on Shamla Hills, we used to go to Birasia Road factory where the accident had happened. We used to go under police protection, yeah, because the emotions in the city were running so high. And that was a time, say, if the learnings that I took out, one is the importance of safety. Even today, there is no meeting we hold where we first don't talk about safety. Yeah, I'm so much focused on safety. The second is the role of cooperation. Yeah, your purpose, your value system becomes even more important. The third is, how do you manage a big crisis like this? Yeah, and that has taught me many things. One is that when things are good, don't be exuberant. And when things are tough, don't become dismal or get into depression.
I've seen a lot of your videos where you mentioned this, and I also saw this video where you were talking about why you have 2 daughters and why didn't you plan for a third one.
Oh yeah, and I have a wonderful wife, and we have twin daughters, Naina and Roshni, and we are so proud of them, and they're wonderful citizens of the world, and they've done amazingly well in life. But Mona was very clear that we will not have a third child because we didn't want Naina and Roshni to feel that we had the third child because we wanted a boy. No. We were delighted with our daughters, and I believe the best club in the world is the club with 2 daughters.
Yes. Sanjiv, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing some thought-provoking leadership mantras with us.
No, it's been a pleasure. Thank you and wish you the best.
To all our viewers, stay tuned for the next episode of Leadership Mantras with Forbes India. For any guest recommendations, please drop in a comment. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for all our shows. Thank you.